Hey, how you doing? We're live from the street. My windshield was fine until I was trying to get rid of the crud, and I used the windshield washer, and it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit. And I got to be very, very, very careful going down this hill because I noticed our streets have iced up. And we got these hills. And I'd say you can't really see it through the ice, but there's this fool who always parks his junky pickup truck right where people are going to smash into it going down the hill. I don't care if you, if there isn't a law that says you can't do that. There's, just have some common sense and courtesy. He's got a nice long driveway he could park on, but he insists parking his vehicle in the street. I'm running a little later than I have been this whole week. I've been not been so great about I forgot what I was going to say. I'm distracted. I'm looking at my camera over here. It seems to have reset itself, all the settings. I wonder why that has happened. That's the thing about electronic equipment. Sometimes it's smarter than you. It decides what it wants to do, not what you've told it to do. Something has reset it, including a setting that makes its low light performance better. It's really dark. I'll have to worry about that later. I've been running dash cameras forever. I started experimenting with them about as long as I've had video cameras, really. First time I ever tried to hook up a camera and shoot out the front windshield was, I'd say at least 1992, but it may have been 1991. And back then it was a huge, ungainly rig. I had this old tube camera that was not a camcorder. It was a standalone camera. You had to hook a camcorder up to it, and the camcorder was this box-looking thing, and there was a cable that ran from the camcorder / camera control unit up to the camera, and you put the battery in the box. And I even car AC adapter, so I could plug it in a cigarette lighter and run the camera continuously, and shot on VHS tapes, and a big Bogen tripod that I had, and I still have that Bogen tripod. And man, talk about an ungainly setup. I had this old Dodge phone van that I drove around. It was an interesting vehicle. It was a straight six. Actually, it was the Dodge Slant 6, 225 cubic inch engine. And that was an engine you could not kill, but it probably got really crummy gas mileage. And the van was a 4-speed. Actually, it was 3-speed with overdrive is what they called it. Manual transmission, manual steering, no air conditioning. The air conditioning was a vent that was in the roof that you had to use both hands basically to open it, and it would bring air from the outside into the van, and the van was a big metal box, so I drove that thing everywhere. I slept in it, worked out of it. I actually kind of miss that van. I don't miss that van right now because the weather conditions is great. That van was really crummy in the snow. But I used that and a camcorder. I recorded trips with it. I have some of those videos online. Traveled to St. Louis. I figured out how to, no, I didn't figure out. That wasn't until later when I got a SVHS camera. I know I'm not speaking in very good chronological sequence, but I got this SVHS camera that had a feature that would record 1 second for every minute, which is not really a time lapse, but it allowed me to kind of lapse my trip in such a way that I could kind of record. But now cameras have gotten really, like this camera I have up on my dash, the one that I was just complaining about, is a DJI Osmo Action. It's a DJI's version of the Action camera, and it has a time-lapse and hyperlapse feature. I'm using the hyperlapse feature because the hyperlapse is running at 1/32 of a second, which means roughly every 2 seconds is a minute, I think. So an hour would be 2 minutes of video time. And then when I get done, all I have to do is open up the app on my phone, transfer the video file into my phone, and then I just go ahead and delete it, thus cleaning out the SD card space. And it's just incredible. It's a device that's fits in the palm of your hand, does what that old VHS camera did about 10 times, 100 times better. I have it set in such a way that I don't have to spend all my time trying to convert it in editing software into something. Man, I tell you, back in the old days, editing software, what was that? You just shot your stuff, and my very first editor wasn't even an editor. It was an SVHS. No, the first one I had was a VHS machine that I bought at a pawn shop. It was a piece of junk. One of the audio channels was bad on it. It was a Panasonic. And then I bought some JVC SVHS machines, 2 of them, and would have to kind of sync it and hit play at the right time. I didn't have any kind of edit controller. I got an Amiga 1000 as my graphics, and I would create slates, videos, graphic slates, and use that, kind of edit together something with a slate. And that was back in the early 90s, 1990, about 93 I started getting that. And then I got something of a switcher that I could use, and I went out and shot some bands, but it wasn't a very good synchronous switcher, so half the footage was unusable. I have to wait till it would get in sync. Then finally I figured out how to fool it to get it into sync. and I used that for a while, and I didn't save up. When I got out of the Air Force, I took out a loan and got my very first, as a friend of mine would call it, rubber switcher, which is a switcher that didn't use proper Genlock devices, but actually was what they would call a digital switcher. It would sync it up inside the machine itself. It was a Videonics. You'd hook 4 cameras up to it. You could hook SVHS sources. It was fancy because it had the SVHS in, and then you could switch it with all sorts of fancy effects and everything. And I had that until it started going kaputski on me. Well, I had it for a long time, and it started going kaputs on me. It turns out those Videonics were a little bit sensitive to being hooked up to bad power. And by that, in a lot of old buildings you find, and bands know this really well, because if you hook up your power source in an old building, like let's say I did a little bit of sound for some bands in an old building one time, and the band, of course, all their instruments were hooked up to the power outlets at the stage, and I hooked my sound system at a power outlet in the back of the room. Well, in a lot of old buildings and some new buildings, the power outlets would be with each other. And you know this because if you get too close to the microphone will reach out and grab your mouth and shock you. And it's not an electrical shock that'll kill you, but it's a not a very nice feeling. And if you put a windsock on your microphone, that'll help a little bit. And so I was asked to do sound at a place called the Blue Tile Lounge. The guy didn't have much choice other than to hire little inexperienced old me. And here I am doing this, and the bands are complaining that they're getting shocked on the stage. And then when I was in a band later, 1994, we had a practice room, and we would hook up at different outlets in this small room, and they were out of phase with each other, and we were getting the crap shocked out of each other. And somebody finally said, hey, what you have to do to fix that is you have to plug everything into the same, have the out of phase problem, and it'll stop you. And we did, and of course we blew breakers, but we didn't get shocked. Well, I'm sure that's what did my Videonics in, was hooking cameras up to outlets in different parts of the room. And I'm sure it was the times I shot the shows in the Outhouse. Outhouse was this punk rock place out in the middle of a cornfield in Lawrence, Kansas. And my friend Brad Norman used some of that footage in his movie, the Outhouse, the movie. And I shot quite a few, well, mostly about 97. I started shooting in the Outhouse in 92. I didn't really get to do more of the fancy stuff with the multi-cameras until 1996, 97, after I got my Videonics. And I shot a few shows in there, but I hooked the cameras up at the different outlets. That was the kind of place that would have out of phase. I think maybe I did that once or twice, and then I think the rest of the time I hooked everything up to the same outlet and didn't blow any breaker, and was quite happy. But I'm sure that the one or two times I did, I screwed up my Videonics, because it started acting up after that season of shooting, and eventually it it got so bad that I couldn't use it. It was really unreliable. And now I have HD switchers. Actually, I have I go with Blackmagic, and cheap. It does so much more than the old stuff ever thought of doing. I've got a Blackmagic ATEM. I forget what the 2ME, 1ME, I think, which I don't use anymore. Should probably find somebody who could use it and sell it to them. I have a Blackmagic. I can't remember the name of it. It's a 4K switcher that I haven't hardly had a chance to use because I just haven't had any kind of like opportunities. And then I use the one that I use all the time now is my ATEM Mini. I'm probably saying it right. It's probably ATEM or whatever, but I can just say ATEM. And that one allows you to hook directly into a computer via USB port and live stream directly out of it. I have the Mini. I don't have the Mini Pro or the Mini. There's like two higher grades of Mini above this one. The one that I have costs like $395. And like I say, it does so much more than that Videonics ever thought of doing, and does it better. So far, it's been a good device. I've used it. I used it throughout the spring when I was live streaming at the church, and I used it around Christmas time. And I'm putting it in a small box where the monitor will fit in, the recording monitor, which is also Blackmagic, what do you call that? Blackmagic Video Assist, which is designed to be hooked to a mirrorless or DSLR camera via the HDMI port, and you record directly in the monitor. But I use this tiny little recording monitor. It's going to go in my box, and that way I'll have a complete live streaming recording kit in a box that's smaller than basically it's smaller than a pencil box. I wonder why this car is turning on his blinkers. You know what? I'm breaking a rule of mine. I hate talking gear. I hate talking about gear. You don't talk about gear so much. You talk about the projects you do. Let's figure out. Oops. Maintenance required. Yes, I know. The maintenance required light comes on, and I figured out that the maintenance required light in this car is a feed me more money light. In this case, it really is a maintenance required because this car needs an oil change. But they reset it at the dealership, and the dealership, I'm sure, just like, yeah. I'm gonna tell him that he needs to have a very, very expensive air filtration system installed in the cab of his car. It only costs $1,500, and we'll set the light so it bothers him until he comes in, and then we'll tell him to do that. Oh, your tires need to be rotated for $300 and this, and it's like, you guys are scamming me. And you're kind of captive to them because you know you got this warranty, and I know I could go other places, but it gets complicated. You know, they're like, well, you didn't bring it in, so when you want to have a warranty claim, we won't honor it because you haven't been maintaining your car. That's how they get you. And it precludes you going in your driveway and doing your own oil changes and things like that. know if I can get rid of that fogginess. I'm almost done live streaming anyway because I'm almost at my destination. That's what I was trying to get rid of earlier. It was really bad earlier. Couldn't hardly see through it. When I don't know, probably warm enough. Yeah, there it is. It's trying to ice up. The windshield wipers also have to be replaced. They're horrible. It's kind of fun. I know I don't like to talk about gear at all, but it's kind of fun to go back over my past history a little bit and talk about those memories. And how long I've been doing this stuff. You'd think I would be farther along in my career, but apparently it doesn't work that way. Not for me, at least. I have a tendency to piss the wrong people off, and they have your whole world in their hands. Well, anyway, enough kvetching. I gotta go. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. See ya.